Gabriel Nicosia here, King of Orion. And I've had a day. It's been a lot. It's been good though. Let me share with you Operation Ignition. I printed it out. Weighs into 124 pages, but on 2 pages per go, it's only 62. That's not bad though. If I were to turn it into a book, it'd be pretty good. Drive Through RPG said no go because it's third-party material, which, hey, they gotta look out for their own. And I imagine Scamazon's gonna do the same thing. So this one's a freebie. If y'all want to donate stuff, I got like a coffee link and whatever. But if you want to download it for free, I'm going to post a link somewhere down there probably. Let me get a little bit more professional. I always get a kick out of people saying, that's not professional. Or, can you act a little bit more professional? When they don't understand that all professional means, etymologically speaking, is that you get paid to provide a service. You do a thing for money. Professional and mercenary are like divided only by connotation. They're the same friggin' word, but one is a little bit more suggestive of social niceties. I don't know. When folks say that ain't professional, all they're saying is, I don't like that. And my response to that is, okay. Maybe you're right. Or maybe you don't know what you're talking about. Whatever the case, Operation Ignition is go. I got another video talking about it and like my hopes and aspirations and things coming down the pipe, but meh, I can't really wait. I want to get through describing the op-ord at the very least, and maybe we'll do a mission. It depends on how quickly I can read and how much daylight I got left. I want y'all to take in my view for a sec. Ignore the cars behind me. That's Denver, the city proper, but check this out. Ain't that friggin' gorgeous? And the clouds. Ain't nothing like a Colorado sky. I'm a big fan of Space Cowboys. Cowboy Bebop, Firefly, Serenity, whatever. Bash the Stampede, Trigun. That counts. Space Westerns. I think a lot of it comes from my dad. A lot of it comes from Stephen King. The Gunslinger series. But as a result, it comes through in my writing a lot. Let's kick this off. Operation Ignition by Gabriel Nicosia, King of Orion. Welcome to ORBI. Section 0. How to use this op-ord. This document combines tabletop role-playing gaming with the free-to-play mobile MMO, Eve Echoes, to generate gameplay. Eve and its spin-offs are a complicated bit of intellectual property. I have no intention of stepping on the toes of CCP, NetEase, or any of the folks behind that particular universe, so if they say, tear it down, I'll file off the nameplates and spin this puppy off into East of Aries. If not, I'll work as free advertising for those delightful folk. Eve is primarily a sandbox experience. This means players are permitted to do dang near anything they might set their minds to in-game. If they can gather the resources, there is very little hand-holding, and drastically less, in this mobile adaptation. If they can gather the resources. Whew, I'm a little more tired than I thought, and that period looked an awful lot like a comma. Please forgive me for any errors that I make while reading this. If you have a problem with the reading, I suggest you do it yourself. Sorry. Some jokes don't get old. For me. Small things for small minds. You know how it goes. There is very little hand-holding and drastically less in the mobile adaptation. It is commonly referred to as pay to win, but when winning is what you define it to be, that concept tends to lose teeth. Without much in the way of storytelling, players tend to pick on one another for fun and profit. Such emergent experiences are often called content by the EVE community. Content is what the game is all about. To that end, the missions and objectives contained in this op-ord are meant to serve as inspiration. Go find new and interesting ways to die. In-game, of course. Fly sexy. Commander Gabriel Nekoshea, King of Orion, CIO of Orion's Belts Industries, ORBI. Subsection A, 20-minute reps. Rep is the primary currency within this metagame. Engage in missions to earn rep. For every 20 minutes spent in service to or learning about a mission, award yourself 1 reputation point, 1 rep, with the mission's pilot. Factions may also earn rep, but pilots have priority. Pilots from a given faction may draw from rep for that faction, but cannot contribute unless otherwise stated. For example, Johnny Thunder is a member of the Angel Cartel, but not in good standing. Completing Johnny missions will award Johnny Thunder rep, not Angel rep. Pilots will have additional opportunities to gain rep based on mission performance, listed under reward or penalty subsections under the execution section. But play should always come with its own reward. Spend rep to unlock progress in the book, or ignore the rep system entirely. If you have a hard time keeping track of time, be generous with yourself. It's just you and the book here. Ultimately, everything is made up, and the points don't matter. This little section is set aside. You may always spend 1 rep from a mission giver to reroll any DX associated with a mission's details, but must accept the second value or do a different mission before trying again. Alright, but what's a DX? Subsection B, bravo, Kice, spelled X-I-C-E. That's what a DX is. This op-ord uses a loose adaptation of the East of Ares role-playing Odo system. When asked to roll a Kice, or DX, you may use a standard 6-sided die with the following translation. 1 and 2 are worth 0. 3 and 4 are worth 1. 5 and 6 are worth 2. The annotation follows standard issue TTRPG conventions, e.g., example given. 5DX means roll 5 Kice and consult the results. All tables use the noble DX as the random mixing element. Have fun. I've got an image of a Tristan here. Little mining Tristan. If you want the pictures from here on out, unless I absolutely love them, you're going to have to look for them yourself. There's a lot of them. And most of them are stolen. Situation. Section 1. ORBI Special Forces Command wants to provide an on-ramp for Alpha clones to full mission readiness. As such, we are establishing a base of operations at Ignoiton 5, Moon 11, Firewalker Office. Privateering capsuleers are offered the following information for product sourcing, marketing, and doctrinal support. The cost of entry is embarrassment. To take part in this operation, say in Jita chat, "I'm Commander, your name here, and Orion is my favorite system in New Eden." Or don't. I'm not your daddy, far as I know. If I am, hang in there. I'll be back with the smoke soon, I promise. Subsection A. Area of interest. Ignoiton system, Firewalker from here on out, is the closest low-security system to the central Jita market. As such, it is the ideal location for Alpha players to compete with the galaxy at large. There are several neighboring systems at around the same security level. While the regional delivery system can provide instant transportation of goods to market in Auvergne, ITC, to establish new areas of competition. Subsection B. The area of operations. The Galente Border Zone Constellation services both Auvergne ITC, codename Eggplant ITC, and is a hop away from the trading hub at Jita, Clover ITC. ORBI's primary of operations is out of Orion, servicing Istidard Interstellar Trading Center, Freelance ITC. Firewalker is a nodal point between established markets and the planned expansion into Auvergne, Ostingale, Pator, Istidard, and beyond. While these strategic goals are OSINT, code names for operational engagement is encouraged. I should say are encouraged. Who edited this thing, man? Section 5, Command and Signal. 1. Terrain. Local resources are mostly unexploited. There is little to no competition despite being so close to New Eden's primary trade hub. There are no key stations in this operation. 2. Weather. Celestial features are stable. Trade does not often linger in these pass-through systems. There are no fitting requirements for weather in this operation. Subsection C. Enemy forces. Where ISK flows, there is always risk. Jita is the trade center of New Eden, and it is said that any and all commerce may be found there. Illicit contracts, dodgy deals, and all sorts of dangerous characters dwell in Jita. Still, the area of operations surrounding Firewalker is among the safest possible locales within the galaxy. There is danger everywhere, even in the shallows. There are those who would hunt their fellow pilots, for business and pleasure alike. Stay vigilant, Commander. Even small fry can bite, given enough time to grow teeth. The Professionals. This mercenary group will happily accept the services of any private capsuleer. However, their reputation is storied. The Professionals will take any job. They are among the oldest private security corporations. Mainly, this is because of their tendency to subcontract out the most dangerous work. They chew through hired hands faster than Scarlett Sanchez can nose her way through a spice plate. But the pay is good if you can survive. Composition, disposition, and strength. The first. The oldest among their number doesn't look it. The first has a number of operational handles, including Catamite Prime, Little Jimmy Murder, and Twee. He perpetually wears a pair of cat ears. The founding member of the Professionals is a second-generation Omega clone, customized to appear around 13 years old. Rumor has it the little bastard has dirt on a good fraction of the Omega whales out in the black, who he refers to as Unkies, regardless of how they present. The first released a line of sensorium AIs that bend the law in both Galente and Amar space, though they are rumored to be quite the hit among Kaldari elite. Virtual relationships are not encouraged as a matter of ORBI company policy. Neurally implanted spyware is not to be trifled with. Minmatar Space has several kill-on-site warrants out for the first, though none have yet collected on the bounties. The second. Very little of the second is still biological. All of her clones to date underwent significant nanite modification with the goal of automating away any difficulty that might present itself. She is alleged to be a common blonde model clone, with most of her augmentations either hidden or notably masked through the use of complex micro-nanocore applications. Her primary means of income is a series of automated interdiction cruisers plus capital ships stationed at entry and exit points near MO. This steady trickle of pirated goods isn't much, but when you are as long-lived as one of the pros, it doesn't need to be. The third. They prefer to be called the philanthrope, but those in the know understand that none of the third's gifts come without strings. More often than not, the generous contracts on offer by the third are meant to lure victims deep into debt. Favors, funds, or flesh, when the bill comes due, there are few places in New Eden to find safe refuge from the Professionals. They wear stately attire, several centuries out of style, and generally appear as a masculine brute. Their knuckles sport precious rings with more than a few stories behind their acquisition and more than a few applications beneath the surface. They will kill anyone who refers to them with an undesirable pronoun. Those who displease the third tend to receive gift ships rigged to fail in plausibly deniable ways. The fourth. A defensive specialist, many jokingly refer to her as the Wall. She makes most of her ISK by providing sensorium entertainment programs, much like the first. She is decidedly more religiously inclined. As such, most of her ties exist in Amar and Minmatar space. Her methods are meant to inspire an undying faith in her followers. To that end, she changes her appearance depending on which audience she intends to woo. However, a common feature she employs across all clones is a set of emotively iridescent facial tattoos. Flashes of crimson accentuate aggressive statements, while cooling blues lend a calming quality when her words need a more subtle pull. She is a master of manipulation. The fourth may present herself as a temple maid or a matronly mother, but she has more in-person kills to her name than any of the lot. The fifth. There are those who seek to steal the fame of others through murder. Most star hunters, as they are known, want their name to be associated with the target or targets of their fandom as a means of piggybacking on the perceived immortality many Galente idols seem to have. The fifth hunts star hunters. Little is known about him beyond his tendency to save the lives of those famous few caught in the crosshairs of their own fandoms. He is rumored to present as a man more often than not, though only the first seems willing to even hint at his existence. His calling card is a neon blue V etched into the hulls, or hides, of those star hunters he manages to catch. Among vigilantes, he's acquired his own sort of fan base, and many copycat star hunter hunters frequent communications nodes, further muddying the waters for law enforcement operations. Recent activities. The professionals have long maintained a foothold on Firewalker and its neighboring systems, even as they operate out of a neighboring station in Clover ITC proper. They recently started accepting clients from within 4 jumps of that central office. This makes their area of influence somewhat spread thin, and ORBI hopes to capitalize on this vulnerability by picking them off, one by one. Locations and capabilities. The professionals are each Omega-class clones. Though their pedigrees tend towards the older models, not a one of them would be caught in public in anything less than a T-10 vessel. In private, they are more practical. They frequent high-security systems both defensively and as a symbol of their reach and influence. While they might not always be on the law's side, more often than not, the police are on theirs. Enemy COAs, courses of action. Because the pros hire widely, there is an opportunity to gain reputation and influence within their ranks. Accept such missions at your own risk. Local Serpentis pirates, the Dark Knight Pythons. Excuse me. Whew. Composition, disposition, and strength. Most of the local gangs, primarily T4 class threats and lower, belong to the Dark Knight Pythons, or DKP, sub-faction of the Serpentis Pirates. They are an insurgent operation with few leaders, primarily relying on a cell-based and lateral organizational hierarchy. Joining the DKP ranks is as easy as painting their regalia on the side of your ship, huffing a dizzying dose of hexcopter exhaust, and threatening the nearest bystander. Their leadership possesses a low cunning that allows them to swoop in only after a few waves of lesser minions get ventilated. Don't expect loyalty from the DKP, but profits are profits, and their risk is liquid enough. Recent activities. Serpentis Prime, Demon Head ITC, is attempting to solidify its grasp on the local gangs. Most recently, the DKP got into a scuffle with higher Serpentis representatives. The youngsters are calling it the Three Snakes War, but the older thugs, with enough neurons left to make sparks, call it a tiff. Locations and capabilities. DKP forces operate out of every system in the constellation. They are limited to lower-level ships, but can occasionally bring elites to bear should push come to shove. Enemy COAs, courses of action. While they will always take a swing at any vessel that enters their territory, DKP pirates will not attack pods or shuttles. As a baseline representation of the Serpentis faction, the DKP is a good starting point for any ORBI associate looking to get mixed up in the right sort of wrong. All rep gained from DKP missions is shared across all Serpentis missions. Keep an eye out for other operations, including this faction. Competing privateers. Composition, disposition, and strength. Details unknown. In general, such capsuleers fly higher-tier combat vessels. They often have outside planet-bound benefactors who sponsor their efforts. Do not engage without help. Recent activities. Details unknown. This close to New Eden's central hub, any and all pilots may be considered among their number. Hard to pick out an individual needle in this needle stack. Recent activities. Details unknown. Just kidding. Locations and capabilities. Details unknown. Generally just passing through. Rarely do they stick around as more lucrative goods lie out in null security systems. You will need to talk to other players, either in local or directly, to discover what missions or goals they might have to share. Enemy COAs, courses of action. Will usually red scan a system in search of prey. Then, they will land at the origin of the target signal, attempt to close to less than 15 kilometers, and engage. Their goal is to make fights as one-sided and sudden as possible. Subsection D. Friendly forces. We never have the time to recognize every contributing factor to ongoing operations, but the following sections represent the main plank holders. ORBI representatives. Composition, disposition, and strength. Allies in the field are in short supply. ORBI is unlike other organizations in a few key ways. Members do not wear titles or insignia. They operate as a part of other organizations in name only. Every member, except the founder, is a spy. This makes cooperation quite difficult. Bigger corporations have strict hierarchies that make them vulnerable. They want loyalty to the point that identifying with a corp is a bit like picking a family. Pick the wrong one, and mistakes can be fatal. Pick the right one, and love leads the way. Figuring out which family to pick is impossible without trial and error. ORBI doesn't need that. Anyone and everyone can be a part of ORBI. No loyalty needed. So in case you weren't aware, thank you for your service. Welcome to the family. Composition, everyone. Disposition, ornery. Strength, who knows? Recent activities. ORBI reports are irregular documentations regarding the author's adventures in New Eden. You can find them on YouTube or wherever your local parasocial relationships are sold. When the founder isn't writing, he's professionally game mastering, printing zines at local libraries, and trying to make rent with 2 thumbs and a bad attitude. Recently, he's taken to watching Star Trek with the woman he loves. More recently, he's taken to fending off local wildlife from a second-hand life support skin. Any further information would be telling. Strategic security requires maximum secrecy, though it's worth mentioning he gives great massages, just not with his hands. Locations and capabilities. Anywhere with a coffee dirt side, there is a small chance of the founder appearing. Otherwise, ORBI operatives may be found anywhere with a code name. Who knows what the organization is capable of? Friendly COAs, or courses of action. The missions provided by ORBI function as a kind of hub to the other elements within the operation. All ORBI missions produce the same rep. ORBI rep is shared across all operations and can be converted to reputation for any pilot at a 4-to-1 rate. 4 ORBI rep is worth 1 pilot rep. This feature does not apply to faction rep. So, for example, no trading for Concord or Serpentis rep. Savage Garden. The Savage Garden Trade Union is a comparatively new organization in New Eden. Not much is known about their origin, though rumor has it they were founded by a pirate queen from among the Angel Cartel frontline commanders. They mainly deal in rare and exotic animals. This niche commercial field quickly became more of a side hustle when Bailey joined the ranks and gave stricter metrics to what was fundamentally a subjective enterprise. The trade union still has connections to various legally gray sources when the first round of negotiations was engaged in with ORBI, but there's no telling what strange beasties the Savage Kiss yet has access to. Composition, disposition, and strength. Big Andy and Sweet Pea. Big Andy's used ship emporium has a line of advertisements on Galente local sensorium feeds. He's huge, a real fluffy fella for an Omega clone. Big Andy stands well outside recommended norms for capsule use. Sweet Pea, on the other hand, is small for an automated assistant. She's technically not a true AI, but the neurotic pacing she tends to rely on when dealing with Big Andy's shenanigans makes her seem more mechanical than she is, in a neurological sense. She is the brains of their operation. The pair function as a unit. They sell ships well below build cost and are a great place to find sourcing work for those new to the area. Just don't expect massive profits or grand ambitions from them. Big Andy is lazy. Big Andy is lazy. Hello, a ladybug. Hello. Look at that. Sweet Pea is constantly anxious about making ends connect. They were built for each other. Mr. Mason. His first name is classified. His last name is Mason. Probably. He wears comfortable shoes and numerous personal defense devices. Perpetually shell-shocked by some unknown and deeply complicated form of PTSD, this information dealer stares into the distance at all times. He's not blind. If anything, he's seemingly seen more than most. Mr. Mason knows where the bodies are buried. He knows who put them there. Mr. Mason sells shovels. Bailey Bitts Maccabee. The revolution kicked off when the gig economy kicked the bucket. Sensorium worm, people died, very sad. Bailey made more ISK than ever. It might have been luck or skill, but she predicted the fall down to the nearest fraction of a second and made her play look like a routine movement. There are hackers that repeat how they go from librarians to libertarians in a few keystrokes, and there are living cyber professionals. Rarely are the two one and the same. Bailey made the team by breaking the encoded genes of a Blood Raider treasure map. Needless to say, she drops clues for the free folks interested in such matters in the hopes they'll catch on and start kinetics and liberation efforts. If the clues don't work, she is not above dropping kinetic hints. Bronco the Hung. He's aware of the jokes. He is also well aware of the reputation his name creates. Bronco the Hung is a lover at heart. Unfortunately, his strict quaif habit and need to feel needed end up making him more of a butler than a killer. Bronco leads a double life. He pays the child support with a casino gig. He pays for his fun by being a gambler in the black. Diversity is the spice of life, and Bronco the Hung lives on a Scoville scale all his own. The Savage Kiss. She is the girl in the digital labyrinth. The Savage Kiss kept a pretty wolf and bear combination as pets until her brain got trapped in a twisted sensorium realm. The critters patiently guard her body. Some serious neuroscience made the companions smarter than most pilots. There's button training, and then there's paw-computer hybrid input training linked to a simulated voice box. The wild things will even sing if the mood took them. At least, until their adopted mother was stolen by a sensorium snare. Bits is going to get the Savage Kiss back into a clone come hell or holy warfare. You can help. I don't know if you can hear that train, but recent activities. Savage Garden signed up to be ORBI's soft power arm. While every movement needs a black wing, the Garden prefers a more family-friendly image than Leibniz Flying Circus, or even ORBI when it comes down to it. Lately, they've been building. They're building relationships, stations, and ships enough to fuel foolish sorties against the core of New Eden itself. That takes time. That takes effort. It thankfully doesn't take much ISK to get started. and Savage Garden is well on its way to growing into a marvel among the stars. Locations and capabilities. Ammunition has the lowest cost of entry for any industrialist corporation. It's Clover ITC exclusive, making it the ideal entry point for Savage Garden's newest private contractors. It's ironic that the more peaceable arm of Operation Ignition sells specialized violence. Friendly COAs and courses of action. See Execution section for details. Leibniz Irregulars. Leibniz takes getting used to. He's human enough, but looks more like an entertainment program come to life, thanks to his advanced, personal, nanocore applications. His pals are similarly strange. They run their organization through a kind of game he calls the heterodoxy rite of succession. But the truth is, his gang is run more by fiat than any true hierarchical structure. It's a flying circus. Composition, disposition, and strength. Kodama Mora. Her heterochromatic eyes are a nod to her original body. Most clone models overlook such details. They designed the genes out due to the loss of eyesight and tendency towards migraine issues. A few vanity models have differing pupil hues, but the blue and yellow in Kodama's case are about as close to natural as these things go nowadays. She is stubborn. Kodama is stubborn as an Nigerian swamp cat. When she sets her mind to a task, it will be done. It will be done with or without body bags. Bounty hunting is a pleasure sport for Miss Mora. Otherwise, she has a tendency to go where she is least expected. General Fang. Adversives are never a good shortcut. They don't stop undesirable behavior. They just associate it with fear, pain, or other repressive motives. When the threat is gone, the behavior reverts. It took the general several lifetimes to learn this fact. However, in the dystopic panopticon of New Eden, every moment is pregnant with the sense of being observed. There isn't a clone alive that's gone a day without pressing a button. The only reason behavioral expedients like shock collars, corporal punishment, and mental redirects work is because everyone in some degree senses some secret surveillance in the system. General Fang is a religious man by nature, but not superstitious. He knows even the best AI cannot overcome the map of China thought experiment without logically inconsistent heuristics. The robots can't watch everybody. There are not enough employees in the universe to watch all of the behavior, and without anything so human as a body, most AI simply hallucinate more than all but the most inhuman clones find tolerable. The general knows all of this, but can't bring himself to shave using a screen instead of a mirror. Call him old-fashioned, call him insecure, he would rather observe than be observed. Mr. Elbert Jackpots. Hello! Mr. Jackpots seeks to impose a maximum wage in his local station. His friends, at least the few folks still breathing on the correct side of an airlock, call him LB. Hello! Thanks to several failed assassination attempts, LB has a limited range of mobility. That creates some difficulty for him, but not as much as the cognitive limits on his ability to verbally communicate. In person, all he can do is copy phrases from those around him. It's not true parroting, as his final say comes through the sensorium network in most transactions, but it's entertaining for most and downright infuriating for the rest. Hello! Teddy Love. Teddy drives a mammoth. She's the queen of the final mile, but he takes his baby well beyond the block and into the black. His favorite rock rig he calls Chili Dog. His last queen called out his habit of buying the dog more gifts than the partner, but he knows she doesn't mean anything by it. She'll be back. Moving boulders is honest work, and it takes Teddy to every corner of known space. Sometimes it even takes him to unknown space. Still, he likes a cuddle. Leibniz. Personalized nanocores are a cutting-edge application of the latest in ship engineering. Leibniz used custom manufacture and control elements to produce a face as mercurial as his personality. One moment, he looks as human as any clone. Then, his flaming skull, psychedelic cascade of lights, or cubist rendition renders in real time, and he's a stranger than anyone on the docks. His favorite ship, a Rifter Fleet issue dubbed Sarisa Sun, is a fan favorite in the underground Tama arenas. Much of this comes from the pilot's ability to turn every interview into a riot of colors and images. He doesn't say much. He usually doesn't need to. Recent activities. As the more combat-oriented wing of Operation Ignition, Leibniz irregulars like to keep their blades well sharpened. When not picking on the local Serpentis scrubs, they tend to form an escort fleet for Teddy Love to shadow. With the 4 lead aggressors and any pickup pilots, Teddy never lacks for scrap or wreckage after a good thunder run into the trade lanes. Savage Garden makes the bullets. Leibniz irregulars make the bullet holes. It's a neat system, and ORBI is happy to make a tidy profit off each input and output. Locations and capabilities. More free-ranging than any of the other friendly forces near Firewalker, Leibniz irregulars caught ORBI's eye, through bits, by smuggling Fullerite C-70 off of the Ethereum Reach. That's dangerous territory in its own right, but a cartel of local bodyguard vessels makes the gates into Low nearly impermeable, and the sole exit point through Null is a crapshoot. The irregulars range widely. Their abilities are similarly diverse. They are so opposed to a standardized doctrine that the capabilities of individual pilots are more often than not questionable. Fittings change sortie by sortie for this bunch of mixed nuts. Friendly COAs, courses of action. See execution section for details. Civilian considerations. Concord forces are at their strongest near Clover and Eggplant ITCs. Between Firewalker and the nearby hunting grounds at Rose Garden, the cops are less P's and Q's and more toe tags and body bags. They'll look the other way for a moment, then they'll shut down your warp drive and drop on your face with the full force of the law. Alright, that's section 1 out of 5 sections. When we actually hit the missions proper, it's going to go a lot slower. But I'll read through the missions next, and next time we can do our first one, which will probably be an ORBI mission. I believe it'll be the commander's intent, and then come get some. Woo! Alright, I have lost the daylight. I think it's time to ride my bike on back home to the shelter. And figure out my next move. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. If you get a chance to look at Operation Ignition, please let me know what you think. Be brutal in your feedback. The next operation is being written, and I want to make them better every time. Just a little bit better. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be. Thanks. Have a good day.